I'm now joined by Gordon Smart. He's the editor of the Scottish Sun newspaper, who's also an eyewitness to this. Gordon, what did you see last night?
I was about to drive home for the evening. It was about 10:15 in the evening, our time. I was on the 6th floor, the open top level of a multi-storey car park, and I could make out the noise of a gurgling engine, like a misfiring engine, like a car running out of petrol, but incredibly loud. So I could hear this noise above me, but I couldn't see what it was. And then I looked around, and in front of me, about 1,000 feet, between 500 feet and 1,000 feet in the air, I could see a helicopter in distress. And then suddenly it just completely lost power and fell from the sky like a stone, just dropping from the sky, and it tumbled over.
You didn't see it? Were you able to see it sort of auto-rotating as it went down, trying to slow its descent? That's sometimes what happens with helicopters.
No, it didn't slow. It was increasing the speed as it fell from the sky. It was a really dramatic and terrifying moment. It really did plunge at huge, huge pace towards the ground, and it was completely out of control. There was absolutely no... I wouldn't believe for a second that the pilot was in control. It was rotating nose by tail. It was sort of spinning over itself as a somersault.
Oh, Lord. Terrible, terrible. Gordon, do you have any sense now whether or not that pilot was able to call in any sort of mayday before crashing?
Well, it's a police helicopter, and I would imagine so. There were three members, two police officers and a civilian pilot on board, and I would imagine that they'd managed to make a mayday call, yes. It was very close to a police helipad, only a mile away. It was also incredibly close to the city centre in Glasgow, only a 5-minute walk by foot to the most famous shopping street in the city. So it's incredible. I think it's a miracle that more people didn't die. I mean, I was staggered that there wasn't a fireball or an explosion. It landed behind the building, so I couldn't see where it actually hit the ground. But I was just waiting for an explosion and to be knocked off my feet, but it never came. It was a really eerie silence and quite an oddly serene moment after it did crash.
Really? Well, very lucky then. I was in Glasgow. I know how festive the bars are. And was this an official concert? Or was it just sort of a small private affair? How packed was that bar?
It was rammed. Friday nights in Glasgow. It's payday as well. It's a famous day over here called Black Friday, where everyone has the money and they start the Christmas shopping. There are a lot of Christmas parties. It was at the peak time as well when people are enjoying a night out in Glasgow. It really was 10:15 at night, where people really are getting into the swing of things. It's a famous music venue. Over 120 people were in there. Had that helicopter gone on fire, I think we'd be talking in terms of hundreds of people, fatalities, hundreds of fatalities rather than 8 as it is at the moment.
And so you're on a 6th-floor car park. What did you do immediately after, and what was the scene like there?
Well, I ran across to the edge of the car park to see if I could see where the helicopter had hit the ground. I couldn't see, but what I did see, and it's something that will stick with me for the rest of my life, was Glaswegian people running towards the scene, not away from the scene. People running to help, not running away from what could have been a huge explosion. After that, I made my way down from the multi-storey car park as quickly as I could and tried to get round to the area myself, but I couldn't do that. The police, by that point, had cordoned off the area. So I made my way back into the office and turned around the newspaper to get a new front page together as soon as possible. It really was a really dramatic and terrifying evening.
I take it you have not left the office. How are things in Glasgow now?
It really is a terribly dark day for Glasgow. This is normally an incredibly happy time of the year over here. A lot of people struggling to come to terms with what's happened. And the worst part is the fear that more casualties, more fatalities will be announced in the following days. It really is just a huge shock, something you don't expect to see other than in the movies. It's a tough time for Glasgow and something that's hit the city hard. We have been in a situation like this before in the past where we had a terrorist attack on the airport in Glasgow, and the city showed incredible strength and courage to get through that, and it will be exactly the same with this. People here are tough. They're notoriously courageous.
Clearly,
our country's famous for it.
Yeah, indeed. I know a few Scots myself. Our best to you, Gordon Smart, and our Glaswegian friends. Thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you.